You're halfway through a basket of fries, scrolling on your phone, when suddenly someone whispers, "Do you even know what's in that?" That's when it hits you. Sometimes the scariest things on the menu aren't the calories. They're the secrets hiding in plain sight. If you've ever thought, it's a big chain so it must be safe, buckle up. Because today, I'm pulling back the curtain on 6 mega-popular restaurants that might be serving you more than you bargained for. And no, this isn't about being dramatic for clicks. This is about the stuff even employees admit they won't eat. By the end of this video, you might look at your go-to order a little differently. Maybe you'll still take that risk for nostalgia's sake, but at least you'll know what you're signing up for. So grab a snack, but maybe not from one of these places. Because once you hear what's going on in those kitchens, you might lose your appetite before the video ends. Let's kick things off with a fan favorite that's practically designed to lure you in with cheap cocktails and endless deals: Applebee's. Now, on the surface, Applebee's markets itself as the neighborhood spot, the kind of place where you can relax after work or grab a budget-friendly dinner with friends. But peel back the layers and it looks less like a restaurant and more like a microwave convention. Former staffers have admitted that nearly everything, steaks, pasta, even fajitas, arrives in plastic packaging, frozen or pre-cooked. What you see sizzling on those skillets isn't freshly grilled steak. It's reheated meat carefully arranged with staged steam. Think less chef-crafted meal, more culinary cosplay. Even the items you'd expect to be foolproof, like eggs or baked potatoes, often arrive half-prepped in bags. A manager once joked that the only thing fresh in their kitchen was the cleaning spray. Customers have shared photos online that are almost comical. Gray, limp steaks that look like they've given up on life. One viral comment described it best: "Is that dinner or a damp rug?" But it's not just about looks. Temperature records from multiple locations revealed that meat was sometimes stored at unsafe levels, over 50 degrees in prep areas. That's not dinner. That's an open invitation for bacteria to move in and host a block party. And then there's the bar, Applebee's secret weapon. Those glowing cocktails are the reason many customers keep coming back. But here's the kicker. Bartenders have admitted those giant neon margaritas and Long Island iced teas are made with the cheapest bottom-shelf alcohol money can buy. One server even joked that the top shelf was just a convenient spot to stash cleaning products. That's not exactly the classy vibe you're hoping for on date night. At Applebee's, the promise of affordable fun might be covering up a lot of culinary corner cutting. So the next time you're tempted by that sizzling plate or colorful cocktail, ask yourself, is it worth trading your stomach for a happy hour deal? Now let's head underground, figuratively, to Subway, the sandwich empire that built its brand on 2 words: eat fresh. Sounds wholesome, right? A lighter alternative to greasy fast food. But fresh at Subway often means fresher than the trash can, and that's not exactly the standard you want for lunch. Take their most infamous controversy, the tuna. For years, customers have joked that Subway's tuna is more mystery than meal. Multiple independent tests have raised serious questions about whether there's any actual tuna in those scoops at all. Imagine paying for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich only to find out it's just sugar and paste, technically edible, but not what you ordered. And it doesn't stop there. Ex-workers have shared eyebrow-raising stories of expired meats with the "do not use" labels scratched off and replaced with new dates. One even leaked a picture of a tub of chicken where Tuesday's expiration was simply updated to Wednesday. That's not freshness, that's food fraud. The vegetables aren't always saving the day either. Customers have caught locations serving brown lettuce, limp tomatoes, and cucumbers that look like they spent the night in mop water. One health inspector even reported seeing an employee wipe down a prep counter with a rag, and then, without hesitation, use the same rag to wipe a bin of lettuce. That's not a salad bar. That's sabotage. And then there's the bread. In Ireland, a court actually ruled that Subway's rolls contained so much sugar, they legally couldn't be classified as bread. Think about that. You're ordering what you believe is a healthy 6-inch turkey sub, but nutritionally you're closer to eating frosted cake with lunch meat inside. Even when the ingredients aren't questionable, the execution is. One customer posted a photo of their toasted sub where the bread looked like it had fallen asleep halfway through tanning, burnt on one side, pale on the other. Another described their chicken strip as translucent and spongy. like a wet paper towel dressed up for Halloween. So how does Subway remain the biggest fast food chain in the world, outnumbering even McDonald's? Simple. It's cheap, it's everywhere, and it's predictable. But cheap and predictable are not the same as clean and safe. If you're reaching for that $5 footlong thinking you're making the smart choice, remember, you might just be biting into disappointment wrapped in wax paper. Next stop, Taco Bell. The midnight savior, the road trip pit stop, the kingdom of crunch wraps and Baja Blasts. It's cheap, it's fast, and it's addictive. But behind the neon branding and quirky ads is a kitchen that sometimes looks more like a science experiment than a restaurant. Let's start with the beans. You'd think slow-cooked, seasoned, simmered all day, right? Not quite. Multiple employees have exposed the reality. Taco Bell beans start as a bag of dehydrated brown powder. Add boiling water, stir, and voila! You've got a tub of refried mush that looks suspiciously like cement paste. One viral comment put it perfectly. "I thought I was eating fiber. Turns out it was bean-flavored drywall." And then there's the beef. Taco Bell proudly advertises seasoned beef, but the fine print says it's only about 88% meat. The rest? Fillers like oats, soy, anti-caking agents, and even silicon dioxide. Yes, the same stuff used in sand and glass. You're not just biting into beef, you're biting into a chemistry set with taco seasoning sprinkled on top. Employees have also admitted that late at night, especially during the rush of hungry college kids, food safety shortcuts become routine. Temperature checks? Often skipped. Cheese and beef? Sometimes left sitting out long past safe limits. And the ice machines? Multiple reports have revealed mold, black slime, and even the occasional insect lurking in the soda fountains. Imagine sipping your Mountain Dew Baja Blast with a side of mildew. But perhaps the biggest disappointment is the presentation. Customers have shared photos of tacos so sad they looked like a toddler assembled them. 2 teaspoons of filling shoved into a shell that's already cracked. One review read, "This taco looks like it regrets being born." Another simply said, "Blink twice if you're okay." So why do people keep coming back? Because Taco Bell knows exactly how to engineer flavors that trigger your cravings. Salty, creamy, crunchy, spicy, all at once. It's cheap dopamine in edible form. But let's be real, so is eating a Dorito dipped in nacho cheese. The truth is, Taco Bell isn't selling authentic Mexican food. It's selling the idea of satisfaction, wrapped in a tortilla and microwaved for speed. And when food is that cheap, it's usually because corners are being cut everywhere else, including the ones that matter most for your health. Now let's trade neon lights for soft lighting and murals of Tuscany. Olive Garden, the chain that promises endless breadsticks, cozy family vibes, and a tour of Italy without ever leaving your zip code. But behind the curtain, it's less Nana's kitchen and more corporate freezer aisle with table service. Let's start with the pasta. If you picture chefs rolling out fresh dough in the back, you're in for disappointment. Much of Olive Garden's pasta comes in pre-boiled, frozen bags that are simply reheated before serving. The Alfredo sauce? Delivered in giant plastic pouches, warmed up, and poured like it's part of a science experiment. In other words, that romantic fettuccine Alfredo you ordered is basically a microwave meal in disguise. And it's not just about shortcuts. Former employees have admitted the kitchens run more like assembly lines than restaurants. One viral post described the lasagna as jiggly like Jell-O, with cheese that melted into plastic-like goo and sauce that resembled tomato-flavored glue. A customer video showed their lasagna shaking on the plate like it was auditioning for a horror movie. Not exactly comforting. Then there's the fresh salad, one of Olive Garden's biggest selling points. In reality, those greens often come pre-chopped in giant bags, left sitting in bins for hours. Workers have even claimed the olives are soaked in such strong preservatives that handling them leaves their fingers numb. Imagine nibbling on your salad and realizing it tastes faintly like formaldehyde. And the hygiene? Not much better. Health inspection records from several Olive Garden locations have flagged repeated issues. Utensils left in stagnant water, food stored improperly, even pasta bins showing insect activity. That's not Italian seasoning. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Customers have also posted horror stories of finding hair in their fettuccine and bugs in their bread baskets. One viral caption summed it up perfectly. "Please tell me this is extra oregano." It doesn't help that high turnover rates mean new, undertrained staff are often running the food line. One dishwasher even admitted that rags used to clean counters were the same ones used to dry dishes. That's not hospitaliano, that's cross-contamination with a smile. And let's talk cost. Prices have gone up, but quality hasn't. You're not paying for fresh Italian recipes. You're paying for the illusion of authenticity while eating reheated pasta under fake Tuscan wallpaper. The tour of Italy they're selling isn't culinary, it's marketing. So the next time someone suggests Olive Garden for authentic Italian, just remember, the only thing endless here isn't the breadsticks. It's the list of corner-cutting shortcuts happening in the kitchen. Now let's head to Chipotle, the burrito giant that markets itself as the healthier, fresher alternative to traditional fast food. Bowls packed with vibrant greens, grilled chicken, guac made fresh every day. Sounds like a clean-eating dream, right? But peel back the foil, and the picture isn't quite as Instagram-worthy. Chipotle's biggest problem? Foodborne illness outbreaks. Over the last decade, this chain has had more norovirus, salmonella, and E. coli incidents than any other major fast casual competitor. Entire news cycles have been dedicated to people getting sick after eating there. In some states, hundreds of diners at once fell ill after lunch. Not exactly the food with integrity promise they advertise. Why does this keep happening? 2 words: rushed prep. Chipotle insists on prepping fresh daily, which sounds great in theory, but in practice it means underpaid, often undertrained staff racing against the clock to chop, marinate, and cook. One ex-worker admitted they once cut raw chicken while still wearing guacamole-covered gloves. Another confessed rice sometimes sat for hours in warmers, crusting on top while staying lukewarm and bacteria-friendly at the bottom. That's not a texture mix, that's a food safety hazard. Even the beloved guacamole isn't safe. Sure, it's made fresh, but in such huge batches that one contaminated bowl can spread germs across hundreds of servings. And then there's the lettuce. Chipotle uses fresh romaine instead of pre-bagged lettuce, which sounds like an upgrade, until you realize romaine has been linked to multiple national foodborne illness outbreaks. In 2018, nearly 700 people across several states got sick from contaminated lettuce at Chipotle. A side salad shouldn't come with a side of regret. Inspections have also flagged sloppy temperature logging. Meats are supposed to be held above 140 degrees Celsius or below 40 degrees Celsius. But when the lunch rush hits and staff are overwhelmed, those checks are skipped or fudged. That barbacoa burrito you love? It might be spicier than you bargained for and not in a good way. And here's the kicker. Many customers think Chipotle is a healthy alternative to fast food. But one burrito with all the fixings can top 1,200 calories and pack more sodium than you should eat in an entire day. That's not wellness, that's denial wrapped in foil. The truth is, Chipotle's brand thrives because of clever marketing and the illusion of freshness. But fresh doesn't always mean safe, and natural doesn't mean carefully handled. Eating at Chipotle can sometimes feel like a game of burrito roulette. You might get a satisfying lunch, or you might get an unwanted night off work. And now, the giant. The Golden Arches. The place so iconic that billions have eaten there without ever asking too many questions. McDonald's. On the surface, it's the definition of consistency. Big Macs in Tokyo taste the same as Big Macs in Texas. But behind that promise of familiarity lies a long list of shortcuts and dirty secrets that should make you pause before your next drive-thru run. Let's start with the ice cream machine. The joke practically writes itself. It's always broken. Entire websites now track which locations have working soft serve. But here's the less funny part. Employees have admitted that the machines aren't always broken, they're just filthy or left off because the cleaning cycle is so tedious. One ex-worker said, "It's either broken, fake broken, or growing its own ecosystem inside." Suddenly, that Oreo McFlurry feels less like dessert and more like Russian roulette. The consistency myth also falls apart quickly once you peek into the kitchens. Night shift employees have shared pictures of burger patties stored at unsafe temperatures, cheese slices sweating under heat lamps, and lettuce that looked like it was cryogenically frozen and then shocked back to life. In some stores, boxes of buns have literally been stacked on the floor next to mop buckets. Appetite check failed. And then there's the fryer oil. While corporate standards say oil should be changed regularly, employees have confessed that managers sometimes let it sit for days. Customers who noticed fries coming out darker than usual? The fix was to just dump on more salt and hope nobody complained. That's not quality. That's cover-up. Even the 100% beef patties aren't exactly what most people picture. They're made from heavily processed, lower-grade cuts, flash frozen, and cooked on automated grills with zero care. If it comes out undercooked or overcooked, too bad. It's still getting wrapped and served. And don't even get me started on the nuggets. Videos from suppliers have shown the infamous pink paste slurry of meat and fillers shaped into nuggets, flash frozen, and shipped. McDonald's claims they've cleaned up the process, but ex-employees still describe nuggets as meat mystery cubes. Cleanliness is another recurring issue. Inspectors have caught employees handling raw beef, then touching headsets, then scooping fries, no gloves, no hand washing, soda machines and touchscreens, rarely cleaned properly, often harboring sticky syrup buildup, mold, or worse. A technician once said the inside of a McDonald's drink dispenser was worse than a college dorm fridge at the end of the semester. Not exactly what you want behind that sweet tea. And while millions still line up daily for the fries and burgers, the quality has slipped. Fries go limp minutes after cooling, burgers taste flat and lifeless, and sauces are doing most of the heavy lifting. One customer review nailed it. It tastes like the memory of meat. So why do we keep going back? Because McDonald's has mastered the art of being everywhere. Always open, always cheap, and always familiar. But cheap and familiar come at a cost. And often, that cost is your health, your expectations, and maybe your dignity when you realize your treat was just reheated disappointment in a paper wrapper. So here's the question. After hearing all that, will you still roll the dice on these chains? Or are you rethinking that late-night Taco Bell run, that healthy Subway sub, or that McDonald's ice cream cone you've been chasing for years? The truth is, popularity doesn't always mean quality, and convenience doesn't always mean safe. Sometimes what's quick, cheap, and familiar is hiding more behind the kitchen doors than you'd ever expect. But here's the flip side. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. You deserve to know what's actually on your plate, and not just what the commercials tell you. Eating out should feel like a treat, not a gamble. And the next time your gut tells you something feels off, maybe trust it. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a horror story at one of these chains? Or maybe a surprisingly good experience that proved the exception to the rule? Drop your story in the comments. I'll be reading them, and I guarantee others will too. And if you want to support this channel so we can keep digging into the food industry's secrets, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an episode. Every click, every comment, every share helps the crew keep cooking up content that's actually fresh. And don't stop here. Check out our other videos where we expose the truth about pizza chains, burger joints, and the dishes professional chefs secretly avoid. Trust me, once you see those, you'll never look at your dinner the same way again. Thanks for watching, and remember, food should fuel you, not fool you.